Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I'm joined here by Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast, and this is Juggle Talks, free agency, franchise tag preview, free agency preview show. We wanted to get. It's been almost a month since we were up. I think the last show we did was before the Super Bowl, so wanted to put something up. We're getting into the business end of football, starting up with free agency. So before I forget, please subscribe if you don't subscribe. It's all we ask. It's a show by fans, for fans. Just support the channel. And Jake does some amazing podcasts. Tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Yep, Jake Circus podcast on Spotify. We'll get a few up from for March Madness. Not anything going on right now, but we'll get some up going for March Madness.
Yeah, well, you've given us some amazing picks throughout the year. So, stay tuned. I'm sure Jake's got a couple of nuggets for us, and we'll have college basketball picks. I don't think you've given me a loser in college basketball. I think you
Have I
gave me like
not? Oh boy.
I think I remember like three or four, and I remember winning them all. So, um, love to keep winners are winners. I don't care if they're golf. I don't care what they are. So I'm a gambler. So let's. I don't think we. I know we didn't do a show before the Super Bowl. I don't remember if we did a show after the Buffalo Kansas City game. Let's kind of put a bow on the postseason, just real briefly. First of all, that Buffalo game, that Xavier Worthy catch was. I mean, that's where all the attitude about. Oh, and here's your dad. Hold on. There you go. Um, we'll get his comments on that. All right, we're already recording, so take your mic off. We're in the middle. So just did the introductions. Super fan Devin Circus joining us. So we were just gonna start with some closing comments on playoff Super Bowl, and I was just gonna about to say about the Xavier Worthy catch. That was like the biggest joke in the world. It was either a interception or an incomplete pass. On no circumstances was it a catch by Worthy, the one they gave him first and goal at the 4
Oh,
on
you're
that
talking about the
desperation
Buffalo.
talk.
I thought you were talking about the touchdown pass. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no,
no,
that was terrible. And I just wanted to pop in. I've only got 10 minutes. Hopefully you don't mind me popping out and
no, not at all.
I thought I had a meeting right now. It's in 15 minutes. No, that was absolutely an incompletion.
Yeah, that's the whole hashtag fix. The whole
Yeah.
hashtag fix is trending. Not a good look for the league. And then in terms of the Super Bowl, I've never
Well,
seen.
wait, let's back up though, because even worse than that, obviously, I'm sure you guys talked about it. The fourth down play on Josh Allen, 100% a first
Oh yeah,
down.
no, we hadn't even gotten there. We were just
Oh,
starting
oh, I
the.
thought you were moving on to the Super Bowl. And
No, no,
frankly,
no.
they got the first down on third down, the pass to the tight end. I don't remember if it was Knox or Kincaid, but the third down play got the
Well,
first down as well.
it was, when hashtag fix is trending, that's not good. And then, in the Super Bowl, I've never seen the country united. There was a Facebook page that just said, put up a thumbs up if you want the Eagles, a heart if you want the Chiefs. There was 4,998 thumbs up, eight hearts. I mean, it was like 99% of the people were rooting against the Chiefs, and rightfully so. And then the best tweet after in the Super Bowl when AJ Brown got called for the OPI, the best tweet I read,
Oh,
immediately jumped on social media, and somebody tweeted, "Oh, I see the refs and the Chiefs renewed their vows before the game." I thought that was a great tweet, so I just wish I had written it. So
yeah, that call on the first drive of the game, it was scary as to what we were in for the next three and a half hours after
listen,
that one. But that was the closest the Chiefs came to winning that game was that one call. And I know Jake liked that call for a very different reason, but that's a whole story for another day.
yeah.
Yeah, that game got off to an
Well,
inauspicious start with that call.
the Eagles did exactly what they needed to do. And it's the last thing I'm going to say, and then you guys could throw in yours. When you don't like the umpire's balls and strikes count, put up 15 runs and take the umpire out of the game. And that's exactly what the Eagles did. They
They
gave the ref. They just took the refs out of the game. When you're up 17-0, 27-0, 34. I mean, it's just they just took them out, and that's what you got to do.
Yep. But people
So,
don't want to hear us talk about the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Bills from 3 weeks ago. Let's talk Bengals.
oh yeah, no, 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 that was it. I just wanted to put a bow on
They
the
don't want to
end of
hear
the
us talk
season.
about that stupid shit and those stupid teams.
Hey, I made money, so I'm not going to call the Eagles stupid when I'm on the Eagles and the over. So it's all good.
There you go.
We signed Rencow. That's really the only signing we've had. It's a good signing. I mean, he did great
Fine.
for us.
Yep.
And then we wait for here we are in the franchise window, waiting for the T Higgins tag. And that's where we sit. I mean, we got to get all three guys signed. Burrow's been very vocal about what he wants.
I'm going to jump in because again, I've only got 5 minutes.
No worries.
The T thing, I think is all good news. It came out Monday. They're going to tag him. I've jokingly said to Jake every day since, why hasn't he been tagged? Why hasn't he been tagged? If the reports are true that he is being tagged, I think it's a good sign that they haven't thrown the tag on him. It means they're negotiating and heavily, heartily, seriously negotiating. It feels like T's coming back. I don't get into the numbers too much on free agency. One thing I heard yesterday is it should be, and it's never simple, but it should be as simple as, "Hey T, we'll give you we'll give you four for 100 for four," and he comes back with, "I want 125 for four." Okay, 112, done, sign it. I feel like that's inevitable. It's going to happen. I think he's going to be signed. Jamar is inevitable. That's going to be signed. Trey, it gets interesting. So Trey's under contract for one more year. If they give him more than a 2-year extension, I think they're crazy. The Bengals always make the last year essentially voidable, so all 4-year deals are essentially 3-year deals, et cetera, sometimes even less. If you want to give Trey 2 for 25, or excuse me, 2 for 50, well 25 per, I'm fine with that. But I think there's options with Trey, and I want you guys to talk about this when I jump off. I've been listening to a bunch of stuff lately. There's if they were to, let's say, trade Trey. No, they're not getting a first round pick. I listened to a podcast yesterday that said trade Trey for a 30, take a D lineman at 30, take a D lineman at 17, or sign like a Josh Sweat. And the reports I saw is that Josh Sweat is going to get anywhere from 12 to 15 a year, which would be about 10 million less than Trey. And then you can go with depth and draft. I don't know if that's realistic. Conceptually, it's a possibility. But one, I think Sweat goes for more than 12. I don't think Josh Sweat is $10 million a year less than Trey Hendrickson, especially since Sweat's on the open market. Hendrickson is not. If Hendrickson was on the open market, he'd get over 30 million a year. And I know I'm just rambling because I'm just giving my thoughts. I've only got a couple. I feel like 2 for 50, 25 per year gets it done with Trey. That means he's playing for 3 years. I think he's making about 15 this year. The interesting thing is there were thoughts are that Trey took less than he should have on the 1-year extension, and that his agent owes him, and maybe that presents a problem. But I know you guys are going to dive into this. All the national media that says, "Oh, the Bengals don't have the money." They have. It's very easy for them to sign all three of these guys and be players in free agency, and that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, we have the increase in the salary cap.
25 million. It's this. I joked with Jake last night. It's essentially a free T Higgins. It goes up 25 mil.
Yeah. And in tagging T, they're just trying to tag him, and they'll work that 26 million or whatever they would need to pay him this year. They'll work that into his guaranteed money. That's all. Maybe a
the hope is that he signs the long-term deal before the tag period's over and he doesn't have to be on the tag.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you're any deal you're thinking about, you're like, well, we're already into this for 26 million guaranteed. Let's guarantee him 40 or 60 or whatever the number is that they
28 a year for 4 years and it's done.
Yeah. So, but Jake, what are your thoughts there?
So when people are talking about these 3-star players for the Bengals and that they're all stars in their own right, they talk about Hendrickson as this perennial defensive player of the year, and I think he was the defensive player of the year last year.
I do too.
But when you talk about return on investment, the Bengals 100% got their return on their investment for the 3-4 year contract he signed going into 2021. But no, that's not a question. They got to a Super Bowl with him. He exceeded expectations at age 30 and 31. How likely is it that he's going to exceed expectations at age 32 now? So when I am heavily on the boat of trade Trey, because that is better than giving Trey way over market for a contract that he's probably not going to exceed. How the Bengals replace that is not by just signing Josh Sweat to the same contract, because they're going to have to compete with a bunch of other people. Now, that leaves a huge void in the defensive line. But when you're a team with a star quarterback who has to pay star weapons who are more important than a 31-year-old defensive lineman, albeit 18 sacks, but again, how is he really going to do that again? Um, it's it's tough to replace. But that's the decision that they're going to have to make. See ya.
All right,
So
take care. Thanks for dropping in. There
these
you
are
go. All right.
the situations that teams find themselves in, and you get yourself out of it by drafting well and finding cheap, high ROI contracts. And the Bengals did that with Trey to start. Can they do it again? Can they sign another play? Because remember, they signed Trey to very low guaranteed money in the initial contract. And everyone was
Right.
like, well, he's now got stuff to prove. This is a big contract. But in reality, it was an easy contract for the Bengals, like with all these contracts, because they're cheap, because the guaranteed money, the risk was very, very low. So it worked out for the Bengals because they were able to get a boatload of production from Trey. Now, I like best case scenario, you add an extra year onto Trey.
Right.
Maybe you overpay, but next year when it's like this is the year, like again, like you gotta do something this year. You can still have him back, and you really don't want to be overpaying him when he's 33 in 2 years. But so it's Higgins and Chase, I think, will return. Obviously, those are home run signings. I don't think Trey Hendrickson is as much of a home run as people think with the age and with the overachieving year in, year out. The guy just wants to get, but remember, he was technically in a contract year because he technically requested a trade before the year and then played it through and then had 18 sacks. So we don't really
Right.
know if the motivation is going to be there, and we see this all the time in every sport. So I'm heavily on team trade Trey. Get as much value as you can for him. It's not going to be much. He's a 32-year-old expensive pass
Right.
rusher. I mean, it's why the Chargers are considering cutting Khalil Mack. The Raiders are potentially looking to trade Max Crosby. So there's not a big market for multi-year deals for expensive old defensive linemen.
With those guys hitting the market, I mean, maybe Trey, and I'm with you in terms of I'm not on the trade Trey, unless we got a boatload for him because somebody was over trading for him because of the year he had. But I would love to add like 2 years with the third year being voidable kind of thing, so
Yeah, I mean,
just
as
something like that, and get him some more money now because he's overplayed his contract. So he does deserve it. And I don't know, part of me says, but I thought he deserved defensive player of the year. And part of me says he had nobody on the other side helping him. He didn't have a big force that took away. So he was double teamed and still put up the year he put up. So I think he's got at least another year or two very good quality years, and we don't have anything else. I hate to take away from a defense that was just sort of finding itself a little bit at the end, but still was very suspect the whole year. There's no
yeah,
question. They were
well,
suspect the whole year.
that's
So,
the issue, because I mean, if you take away Trey, what do you have left? But at the end of the day, like, you expect um Marcus Golden to bring in, to be able to identify some players who are cheap, who could bring in instant production, and everybody on that defense had a down year. They're in for some just natural positive
right,
regression. It's really hard to be that bad again. And you make a lot of changes, and you expect some personnel to change and some coaches, and obviously, so that they're in for a better year just automatically based on the law of averages. Um, because I don't necessarily think that the players Bengals have are scrubs. They dealt with a lot of injuries, so they get some players back
right,
healthy. I know every team does, whatever. But if you take Trey out, like, that's the argument. What do you have left? So
right. No, like I said, it's so I'd say pay the guy. Give him some
yeah,
money now, pay him, extend his contract out a year or two. And then obviously you gotta, T and Chase are a done deal. Otherwise, my feeling is if you let Trey go, we don't have a good defense, and we look like the '82 Chargers again. I mean, the one thing we have in common with the '82 Chargers, they had the Dan Fouts and Wes Chandler and didn't make the playoffs, and that's what we had. We actually worse. We had a triple crown wide receiver, and we didn't make the playoffs. So I don't want to do that again. So part of me says, extend Trey a year or two, and I don't want to see the defense regress at all. You know, so
Yeah.
so that's where combine's coming up. It doesn't sound, the combine gets less and less important every year.
It does, I don't think anybody cares about it. I mean, I don't care about it.
I mean, but it used to be. I mean, think about it. There were players that would perform well at the combine and jump into the top 10 picks in the draft. Those players
Yeah,
don't really go anymore. So
that still might happen, but I think like people care more about the Senior Bowl. I don't know if that matters. If like people, I don't know. Like I I think the teams care about the interviews, but I don't think that they really care about how much these guys are benching or how much these guys
right.
are running. I mean, I've always said the 40-yard dash is the most irrelevant, hyped thing ever. It
Look, you
doesn't
want to have a
matter.
40-yard dash? Put them in pads and helmet and
Like
have them
why?
run a
Like
40-yard dash.
for 90% of the positions, it doesn't matter. Like why do they make linebackers run the 40-yard dash? It doesn't like stupid.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I agree. But the interviews are important now. There was, and I don't know if I can find it. I'll put it on my Twitter feed. But there was a great interview with Dick Vermeil where he talked about the 5 minutes or 10 minutes they get with the player. He said, "I always want to immediately test the IQ of the player." He'd say, "I'd ask him, what's your favorite play?" If he's an offensive player, what's your favorite play? And have him draw it up, and then say, okay, what's the defense you want to see against that play? And in just this interaction, you learn about the player's IQ, is football IQ, and that's where that 10 minutes is a big thing. Make the most of it. Don't ask about his family. Don't, all that stuff you can do later. Let's find out if this guy has a high football IQ. And I thought that was always a great way to approach it. Like I said, that was Dick Vermeil interview from a long time ago. But so yeah, no, here we are sitting there playing the waiting game. We've got how much longer till they officially have to put the tag on him? Like a week or so? It's like a
March
two-week
5th,
window.
March
March
5th,
5th.
2
Okay.
weeks maybe.
Yeah. So we wait. T's going to get the tag. We've already heard that, and like I said, he's not going anywhere. That's the biggest news, is that we just keep him out of free agency. Once again, you want to take the umpire out of a game on balls and strikes. You don't want
Yeah,
you don't want the guy.
I mean,
Don't give him the hall pass. Don't let him go out and see what other girls he can date out there. So
yeah, I mean, I think the franchise tag is, I mean, it's so unfair to players, for this exact reason. I mean, it basically bails cheap organizations out of giving players what they deserve. And the fact that you can tag a player twice, because I know, I mean, there's a penalty, a punishment. You have not punishment, but there's a, a, basically like a tax, like it's a higher price every year you tag
right,
somebody. But it's better than him leaving, especially for a star player like T. Um, so the downside to just having him play on the tag again is you get a very pissed off T the whole year, and who knows what his motivations will be. And very rarely have we seen, I don't remember the last time it's happened, a player play on the franchise tag 2 years in a row.
so I think the
I
only
don't
one I
think,
can think of is
and I don't think the Bengals want to make that.
Kirk Cousins on Washington.
Was that the last time?
Well, that's the last one I remember where
No,
they
and
actually
I was
tagged the
about to say that
second
one.
time.
Yeah, Kirk
Washington
played.
kept kicking the can. They didn't want
Yeah,
to do the marriage, but they said, "You know what? I'll take another year of dating." And they just kept kicking. And I think they tagged him twice. He's
yeah.
made so much money for what he has done in the NFL. Kirk Cousins is the model of betting on yourself. I mean, it's just
Well, he's also been really the last quarterback to sign a big contract in free agency. I mean, he's the last quarterback to basically leave his team that's drafted him, sign a big contract with somebody else, and it pay off.
yeah, no, and it was the fully guaranteed 4 years from Spielman in Minnesota. I mean, it's just
And
he's
then
made it, like I
and
said,
then
for a guy
signed
who's
another
not.
big and then signed another big one in Atlanta. That one didn't
Yeah,
work
and did
out. That
well.
was one of the
It's
worst contracts in NFL history.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. So, but no, like I said, for what the guy's accomplished and the amount of money he's made, it's that's not really a fair deal. But he's made a lot more than most that have done a lot more. So, well, Joe's been vocal. We wait for the Bengals to make some moves, and then we'll come back with hopefully some free agency news. It's one of those. We're in that waiting period. League year is going to end, new one's going to start, and we'll see where we're at. But all right, what do you got for us on any picks? Any nuggets? Because
let's get some picks out.
Yeah.
Villanova tonight against Marquette. We'll go with A&M tomorrow morning against Tennessee. That's it. Let's roll with that.
All right, hey, there you go. There's a 2-game parlay. Put it together. Like I said, you've been on a tear. So I always, when a horse is hot, I just keep riding. I love winners. So that's it. So remind everybody where they can find all your stuff.
Yeah, you can find all my stuff on Twitter at Jake Circus. Go hit up the pod. There's no new episodes or anything, but follow me on Twitter. All my picks are on there for golf, hoops, baseball when that starts. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. No, and we'll be, as soon as there's news, we'll come back. It had been 30 days. I wanted to put something up, for our subscribers. And please, if you don't subscribe, support the channel, hit the bell so you know when we put up these episodes. It's not like during the regular season where we have a preview every Thursday and a recap after the game. These are going to come up as there's news. We'll be doing a couple free agency shows. And here's your dad for closing comments. Here, tell me. Yeah. And he's
done.
back. All right, we were just doing closing comments. So what you made it for this has actually been interesting, you popping in and out. Go ahead. I was just yelling everybody to subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll be putting up episodes, free agency, pre and post, draft, pre and post. So
But before you do that, I want to know who Jake got in his Trey Hendrickson trade. Do I need to go back and listen? Did you talk about?
I didn't say anything.
He didn't say he didn't.
That's not my job.
Yeah, he didn't propose. He's just on the trade tray.
So and I didn't. Can I open it back up, or are you really done?
I gotta go.
He's got, yeah. Well, we'll save it for the next show because we've got to do something's going to happen. T's going to go down. Chase is going to go down. Something's going to happen. We're going to be back, and we have free agency coming up. So
the only thing I want to close with, and sorry for popping in and out.
Yeah.
It was funny. I think there is a path where the Bengals do exactly what the fans want and get better and take the next step without Trey Hendrickson. I don't think they have to sign, Jamar they have to sign. I think there's a path. We could do a whole nother show on what Trey is worth and what you get in a trade. And because there is value, you do save money by signing him now rather than letting him hit the free market. So that's it is very interesting to me. But I was listening to Rapine and Lithgow, and I don't think they were flat out saying that you can trade Trey for a 30. I think they were saying that people think you could, and that you're not getting a first rounder for Trey. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'd love to see him back. I think Jake started to talk about this before I had to go, in that Trey is a phenomenal pass rusher. He's not one of the best 3 edge in the game. He's one of the best pass rushers, and there's things you can do without him.
All right, well, we're going to see what happens. So we'll be back probably, I'm guessing, in a couple weeks. We can get back together in a couple weeks. We'll have some news. Free agency, franchise tags will be done. So we'll be back with the show in a couple weeks. So please subscribe, bang that bell, and I'm going to say, hoot everybody, and do your 2-team parlay with Jake's picks. Take care.